Good morning everyone and welcome back to the Nature Patch. My name's Robin and today I'm going to be showing you how I am filling my raised beds. So it's currently around 8:30 in the morning and it is quite a foggy day. You can't really see too well, but I can't quite see the sky yet, and earlier this morning I couldn't really see in front of me that well. So winter is still upon us, but I have my trusty cup of tea, so we're going to put this down and then start filling the raised beds. Okay, so sitting behind me I have all of my ingredients, I suppose, that I'm going to add to my raised beds. I have these raised beds here. They're from Bunnings. They're $20 each and they are just kind of ColourBond material. So they're about just over 1 meter by just under 1 meter, I think. They were also really cheap, which was a requirement for me. So I'll turn you around and show you the ingredients that I've got to fill these beds. Alternatively, you could just add soil into these and be done with it, but soil and compost is actually really expensive around me and I don't have a lot of my own compost yet, so I'm filling it in a lasagna laying method. So I'll show you what that is now. Alright, so this is the bed here that I've already started filling, and I've already filled this one up completely, but I'm going to be doing this other one a little bit different to this one. But basically the method is you're kind of making a mini compost in these raised beds, or that's my goal, I suppose. So similar to making my compost, well, first I've actually put down a layer of cardboard, and this just ensures that the grass won't come up. And then on top of that I've added in a coarse layer of sticks and palm fronds, a few dead leaves and that kind of thing, and that's going to give a little bit more aeration into the soil. Okay, so next I'm going to add in all of these ingredients here and I'll walk you through what that looks like. Okay, so this is such an easy method to filling a bed. You want to have a good ratio between your green materials and your brown materials. So the green is like this material here, is all of your nitrogen, and the carbon, or the brown, is all of this material here, including like the sticks, cardboard, anything that's dead pretty much, even including like paper and that kinds of thing. So you want to keep just providing as many layers as you can in the bed. The more diversity, the better, to get more microbes within the soil to start breaking everything down. The nitrogen is things that the microbes will feed off, and the carbon oxidizes to break down everything else. So firstly I'm going to be putting a layer of green materials over the brown materials that I've already put in the base of this. I should also note that you should keep adding water to the layers as you go, as you want everything to stay fairly moist. So because it rained last night and it's still really dewy, I'm not going to worry about watering this, but you just want to keep that in mind. So I'm going to be adding a layer of green first. Next I'm going to be adding a few more brown materials, so your carbon materials on top of that. And I'm going to repeat that with a few more green layers. So on top of that now I'm going to weigh it down a little bit because there's a lot of air in there and I want to start compacting it down a little bit more. I'm going to be adding a layer of well-rotted horse manure combined with a little bit of fresh manure and a mixture of like leaves and grass clippings in here. So that's going to go on top of those two materials. So because some of this isn't really well rotted down, it's filling in the gaps here, and it's going to slowly rot down over time and produce a little bit more heat, also help breaking down a lot of that green material as well. On top of that I'm going to be adding in a mixture of perlite and soil, and what this is going to do is add drainage from the perlite in there, but also act as an inoculant to keep breaking down all of these things in here. So one thing that you do want to add in is some fresh soil, and that's got all of your microbes in it basically. That's going to help start that process of breaking things down so that you don't have to do it yourself. So I'm just going to keep on adding some green and brown layers now. You can really use whatever green and brown carbon nitrogen materials that you've got. I just did some pruning yesterday, so I'm just going to use all of these palm fronds and some garden clippings. Another ingredient to add is some lime or some wood ash, and this allows to help everything to break down even more and also provides some really good nutrients like potassium. So I'm going to sprinkle this over. Another inoculant I'm using is coffee grinds and tea bags. So this is a green material, and this is going to provide more food for different microbes to start breaking this down, and also food for my next ingredient that I'm going to be adding to. So that's what that looks like. So good. So you still want to keep all of this material fairly moist, so I'm just going to add a bucket of water over to all of this. Next is probably my favourite layer, and this is where the magic happens. So this is worm castings, and there's quite a few worms in there as well. Still kind of a mixture of fruit and veggies that hasn't fully broken down yet. This is going to go on next and provide probably one of the best ingredients to help start break everything down. So good. And then over that, I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of compost over. Now for the final layer, again, if you had more materials you could keep adding to this bed as well, but because I'm a little short for time, I'm just going to start adding my top layers on. So to finish this bed off, I'm going to add a really thick layer of mulch. This is sugarcane mulch, and this is going to break down over time, but mainly it's going to allow for moisture to retain in the top layer of this bed. So I'm going to add all of this onto the top layer. Alright, and that is pretty much done. So when I want to plant into this, this is ready for planting right now. What I can do is dig a hole, just a little hole like that, add some compost or a mixture of compost and worm castings or seed raising mix, whatever you've got, and then I'll plant my seedling in here and cover it up with the mulch, and that's pretty much done. So that's pretty much it. That's how I am filling my no-dig raised garden beds. It's a really cheap and effective way to adding heaps of volume into your beds if you don't have a lot of soil or if it's too expensive. This is a great alternative, and it'll slowly break down over time and essentially create that soil that you would otherwise be buying. And bonus, you get to recycle all of your garden scraps around the garden that you might have. So I'm going to go have some breakfast, and then I'm going to go plant this, and I'll show you what it looks like after I've planted it. So it's a bit later now, and I have finished planting the bed. So this is what it looks like here. I have a few different things that I've planted in here. I've planted a nasturtium up the back, surrounded by 2 cos lettuce on either side, some red onions and some leeks on the side of that, and some more cos lettuce and some more leeks in there. So as this bed fills out a little bit more, I'll see how much space I've got, but in between the leeks and the onions, I'd really like to plant some more parsley, some continental and curly leaf parsley, and probably some more greens in between them as well. So onions grow really well with things like parsley and salad greens as well, so that's probably what I'll put in this bed over winter. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and seeing how I am filling in my raised garden beds. It's a super easy and super cheap way to basically create soil if it is too expensive for you, or if you don't have the means to go collect that much soil. It's a way that I'm really excited to experiment with, and I will definitely keep you updated on how it goes and how things grow in it as well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!